Hi y'all, this is Larry at Deep South Texas. It's April 1st and we got a little bit of rain last night and the garden is loving it. Let's go take a look. So we planted sweet corn in this bed earlier this week. It's not up yet, but looking forward to some very tasty sweet corn this year. I planted G90. And here is a zucchini I planted from seed earlier in the year. And there are a couple small zucchinis on. They have flower buds on. They haven't bloomed yet, but that's looking good. And then a couple other zucchinis we purchased at the store. The cherry tomatoes are looking really good. There are a few tomatoes on here someplace, if I can see them. There's some starting right there. And there are some others in here as well. These are some yellow straight neck squash. Those two we purchased at the store because I had planted some in here and I thought the chickens had dug them all out, but I see one small one here is coming up now. And some butternut squash over here that I planted from seed. And here we have some lemongrass. It was in a way too small of a pot last year, so we put it in a bigger pot, and it's coming back from the neglect and from the polar vortex. I have some onion chives planted in this bed, and they've all come up. And then some garlic chives over here, and they're looking good as well. In the bed right next door to it, I planted some fennel. Now, I've never grown fennel before, but I like fennel seeds on my pizza, so we're giving that a try. And I've also tried planting some caraway seed here, but I don't see that it's come up yet. Some dill we've moved over, volunteer dill we've moved over from the garden over in this bed as well. This will be my sacrificial dill. If the swallowtail butterfly caterpillars show up, I'm going to move them over here. So let's go take a look at the other half of the garden, what I call the old garden. Yeah. A lot of growth over here. A lot of growth over here. Let's take a closer look at these potatoes anyway. They're looking good. If you remember that early on I planted some store-bought russet potatoes that were starting to sprout into this bed, and only one came up, and it came up right in the middle of the bed. Well, it was a couple months earlier than the rest of these potatoes. The rest of these potatoes are red Norlands. And it was a couple months earlier and it died back. And my wife dug it up last week and came up with two potatoes. Now, one of them is huge. It's over a pound. And the other one's a nice sized potato as well. There may be one or two more in there, but we didn't want to disturb the red Norlands, so. But that's a pretty interesting large potato. I need to pull the rest of my carrots before they split with some of this rain we have coming on. And here I have a cucumber that I planted inside from seed a while back, and it's climbing the trellis, and it's got a couple small cucumbers on it this morning that have flowers on them. So I hope they get pollinated That's looking good. And then also we purchased some plants as well to plant next to it, but this one is looking good. Most of my tomatoes are flowering now, and most of them have a couple small tomatoes on already. These are the Biltmores here. They're looking strong. I've been pruning on them, but hope to have tomatoes shortly. These are the beefsteak tomatoes here. Again, a few small tomatoes starting to show up. And next to those are the red Siberians. And again, there are a couple tomatoes showing up here as well. Looking forward to a great harvest this year. And some of the pole beans have made it up to the top of the trellis. I haven't seen any flowers yet, but I think we'll see some maybe tomorrow or the day after, because they're doing well. Maybe this is a flower down here on this one about ready to come out. Had a lot of growth on the eggplant in the last couple weeks. It's looking good. And the paprika pepper, it's also looking good, and it's got some flowers on as well. My big Jim peppers are flowering. In fact, there are a couple small peppers. Looking forward to harvesting those. And my other bed of peppers here, California Wonders, Marconis, jalapenos, and they are all flowering as well. Some of the flower buds are dropping off. So I went online to see what causes that, and the article I read says, well, could be too much water, could be not enough water, could be too much fertilizer, could be not enough fertilizer, could be too hot, it could be too cold. You know, absolutely no help whatsoever. So we're just going to let them go and see how they do. The cabbages are pretty much done for the year. I have 4 here left yet to harvest, and I'll be planting this bed with sweet potato slips here shortly. And I'm growing the slips now, so I have 4 sweet potatoes planted in here about 6 inches down that I'm using to grow slips. And these just showed up. They come out purple and then they turn green later. But I need about 30 slips, I think, for this bed, and I'm pretty sure that I'll get those. The onions that I planted from seed in November are looking good, so they're starting to bulb up now. Should get a real nice harvest from those. Those are Texas Granix 502s. And here is my main crop of dill. It's flowering and looking strong. The celery is looking good, as are these chives. The cilantro is starting to bolt, and that's okay. We'll collect some seeds from that this year. And the parsley is still looking pretty good. Now we have a new plant planted in this bed, or several of them. So this is a banana plant. I wanted to grow bananas for some time, but I've never had a spot that was under irrigation that was big enough. But since this tree came out because of the hurricane, I now have some space over here, and I have 3 banana plants planted. So we'll see if we can get any of those far enough along to get some bananas off of them. I hear it takes 18 months, so we'll need to get a little bit lucky with cold weather, but some years we're lucky. The turmeric and the ginger haven't come up yet. That's normal. I would expect to see them up though in another month. And I have one moringa tree that survived the polar vortex in good shape. It's put out lots and lots of branches and growing strong. I have several others. They look like they survived. They're alive. They have some leaves, but they're doing nothing like this one. And this jasmine I have growing on the garden fence is in bloom, and it really smells wonderful. I have a lot of jasmine planted on the property, but this is the only one that survived. My wife says this one is called Confederate jasmine. The cantaloupe I planted from seed has come up and it's looking good. And some sugar baby watermelons here also coming up. I'm hoping to get them to grow on this trellis, because if the fruit grows on the ground, it seems like I have some pests that come and eat it. So we'll see how that goes this year. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tour of my garden here in early April. If you did, please give it that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.